How do you actually keep the conversation going with people that might not necessarily be potential clients, but have a network of clients?
Have you kind of tested both outreaches and what's working better?
So just on your thoughts, maybe it's worth it to do these personalized presentations up front.
What would I need to do? Like the 5 things, 6 things, like do I need to populate like the service offer?
I'm currently having a lot in my mind and thinking about what the best way is to do it.
So at what point is it more of a numbers game than it is, hey, let me have 4 VAs, all these systems, spending $3,000 a month on the service?
How many calls did you schedule up front? How far up front was it? Were you just saying, I'm in LA, let's grab a cup of coffee to everyone you knew, or was it more structured?
And I'm going to send 50 emails a day using Instantly to hook them to a lead magnet, so on and so forth. What are your thoughts on that?
People write down what they're thinking. They're thinking, I'm just following up. That's your thought. You shouldn't write that in the actual message. People think gimmicks is going to work. I'm actually going to hire you if that's the way you do business. I'm just going to share like how we structure emails. Sell like about you're going up to a girl in a bar, and what you say to them initially is going to pique their interest. It was crazy. Like 3 months ago, I went to see the Kardashians in their house, and I went to advise them on something, and maybe I can sign them. We're still figuring that out. And that's where most people go wrong, because you may put some effort into a outreach. So I build the follow-up in the same way. We pitch Gymshark. Who can look at Gymshark and find a missing hope when they're a company worth billions? You'd be like, they know everything. But there's always opportunity if the right person is looking in the right way. I know Logan and KSI. I knew them both, worked with them both. We did Logan's fabric clothing. I'm so busy with my offer, and these other called Congo brands have come, pitched them, launched Prime, and made billions of dollars.
Okay, so in this video, we're going to be talking all about outreach, how people do it wrong and what to do right to be able to sign clients like never before. You're going to see me live with 8 agency owners, and we're going to be discussing their outreach live. I'll be checking the email, checking the decks, every single thing you could think of over the next hour. So sit back, see what it takes to actually get to becoming one of the best agencies in the world. This is a live call taken from what we do at Jumpflow, and we're helping agency owners. If you are interested, you can just click a link down below. With that being said, let's get it started.
I remember last week I couldn't find this, and I found it later on. And I will save a copy of this in there. Essentially, this is just taking you through our actual, from outreach to pitch, to then signing somebody, like the process that we go through. And essentially what I've done is, I'm just going to slightly recap it. You have a separate outreach team whose job is to sit and find, then they qualify. That's the outreach team, and how we have the structure of that. Once someone responds, it moves over to the pitch team. And then they are actually working on the pitch, and I lead that always alongside other people in the business who actually have the value. So when it comes to pitching, and that's why I hate the whole industry of sales, because people make it seem like you can automate your sales, someone else can sign people for you. And you can probably sign some clients through an online page, but when you're talking to high-end clients, there's going to be an element of pitching, and I mean how much value you can provide. I'll just go here. Ultimately, how that works in a bit more detail is we source, we outreach, and this is what we're going to focus on today. Actually, I'll stick to here, sorry. And then the pitch team works on it. And then when you get to the deal phase, it's like someone owns that deal, and they're going to drive that deal through until that person signs, and then obviously hand it off to a account manager. Obviously, this is a bit larger setup, but it's just trying to show you how you get to the scale of where it's a thing that your business is fully doing versus you're happy to sign some clients and it feels great. But then I think I discussed last time that if you're doing it properly, you're going to actually have a goal of, I am trying to get $7 million this year from new clients. That means I have to sign 27 more clients. Then it becomes a real thing that you're actually pursuing versus taking a call here and there, trying to sign a client, which you do in the early days. But when you invest in this as an area in your business, the business starts to scale from there. But I'm going to move on to outreach. I put some examples here more just to kind of go through the obvious stuff. And it's hard for me to ascertain like where you guys are at and what you guys do, but I'm just going to say what not to do just so it's clear. And that's why I feel like it's so easy to do outreach today, because 99% of people are terrible. And I don't know why that is. Maybe that's what all like sales courses or appointment setter courses like teach. I don't understand where people are learning like this like terrible way of selling. Obviously, I'm just going to show you a bunch that came through my inbox. You should never have like a designed newsletter, but it's an outreach email. So like, obviously don't do that. Stuff like this, you'll get someone will try to like be clever, like, to Shan, can you respond? Like, it's just dog shit, basically. Like, it will never work. Obviously, obvious, don't do that. and I'll tell you why when I show you what I would do. People are trying, right? It's not the best subject line. Just generally, I've not crossed the line here, but I'm interested. Um, the point is, when you read it, you don't even know what does this guy want. Then you, after saying something, he's like, are you interested in receiving a short video that helps you think? Do you see like how confusing it is? You have no idea what this guy is trying to actually sell you. Quite obvious. Another type which is terrible is just talking about themselves. And he's explored Gemflow, caught his eye. Right, okay. And people, you always hear customize your outreach. And I'm sure you have people are trying that and they do it wrong. This is an example of that. And then he's just giving me something, then hoping if email finds you well. Should never say that's the worst thing to ever say. Just circling back to my previous message. So anything like that is so common for people to write, but that's your thought. People write down what they're thinking. They're thinking, I'm just following up. That's your thought. You shouldn't write that in the actual message. If that makes sense. And the truth is, this is like every single day. It's something like this is only 6. I did a screenshot it this morning. Is it the same dude? Yeah. So basically, I want to talk about the follow up. This is terrible. So he's circling back. Next one, last follow up on a potential partnership. Like he's literally writing it as he's doing it, right? It's like a literal meaning. It's just terrible. But again, like, probably for context, it helps. Then we have this is becoming a very big thing now because I assume they teach it in some courses that we can generate you 80K in monthly revenue or MRR, or we can increase your conversion rate. They list throw random numbers in an email that means something, but to the other person, it means it would never work. It would only work on another shitty client because they also are terrible at their business at that stage, right? So like bad outreach is only going to help you sign bad clients. And it's obvious because anyone that's slightly good at their business will never respond to any of this stuff. And same again, was checking out your website again, and I had a few ideas. My design team created an email for you, send it over. This is the other big no. You'll see this across everywhere. People obviously have some people sitting and doing this, probably in Philippines. They're always like, can I send it over? They're waiting for you to opt in, right? And then someone will actually look at it. But yeah, it's not going to work. Then you have people that are like, I don't know, he just mass email about themselves. And just like, I don't know why I would respond to this. And just like, what did you get in your GCSEs? People think being smart will make me open. And then they probably do a LinkedIn post about how I get 90% open rates. But like, it actually doesn't do anything though, right? So I'm just trying to make this, you'll see in a second why, because this is when it says invoice paid. Like, I mean, if people think gimmicks is going to work, I'm actually going to hire you if that's the way you do business. Our AI system will give 23 instant, like, it's just so bad. So what I did was, I'm just gonna share like how, I guess, my thoughts on how we structure emails. And ultimately, I break it down into 3 sections. So the first section is like, you got to pique the interest. I used this line last time, is like, sales is like about you going up to a girl in a bar. And what you say to them initially is going to pique their interest. Versus you're not going to come and say, hope you're having a good day. I know we discussed it previously. So for me, the first section is how you do that is, so let's say, I guess, Ivan, you just sent that pitch through that you want to send for this language app, right? So how would you pique her interest? You have to say, these are our different things that we do. Either you say the problem that you have found, i.e. your website is slow, or your podcast clips are edited poorly, or your current funnel is flawed because I found this. It's something that would make them think something actually relevant to them. Like if someone is doing it to me in those emails, if they said something like, oh, I noticed you have like this creator on your website, but they also they're doing something else or something, that'll take my interest to be like, well, like maybe someone's in conflict. Maybe trying to do something just, it'll make me pay attention for that 1 second. Or the other option is you mention something that is not obvious to them. That I listened to what you said in X podcast or something else. So you have a TikTok account, but you don't have a TikTok shop. Again, something that you have actually seen, which means you have to invest the time. You're not using email automation. So maybe you sign up to an email, you notice there's just one email, that's all you got. You never got an automated flow. The third way is, section these, so it's number these, sorry. Anything related to any connection you may have noticed they may be traveling somewhere, they may be somewhere. I've done this a number of times for it to work where I'm like, I do it a lot actually because people come to Dubai a lot. I'm now living in Dubai. So like, I'll say like, oh, I noticed you're in Dubai because, okay, that's an instant like thing because people are always interested in meeting or doing something. They're in a new place or if you're there for a short period of time. Again, something that will get the interest. Number two then is the actual value. And going back to if you've spoken to a girl first, now you got to make her think you're actually cool, right? So like, then give them the answer. Whatever you want them to pay you for, give them something right now in this email. So I think what you were saying at the beginning, Derek, so if you're like, this is what you need to do to make your videos better, whatever that thing is, I would say it in the email. And the truth is that after you do it again and again and again, there'll only be like 5, 6 things for a particular offer or service that people are mostly doing wrong out there. And it becomes very easy to then turn into templates, copy and paste it, etc. And ultimately, this is the place like if you change your email login form, you can do this difference. I re-edited your video and it's here. I looked at your engagement and you could do this much. You're coming from your expertise that you could do this. So Tim, if you like doing marketing, it was marketing, right? For B2B, was it?
Yeah, exactly.
Agency? Yeah. Who are your customers? Which industry?
B2B SaaS companies.
Okay, that's it. Yeah. So obviously here, there's so much you can talk about there because so many of them wouldn't probably have really good automated marketing funnels. They probably wouldn't even have a webinar funnel. They probably don't know what that is, but you can suggest to them that it could do this or that. Then you finally come on to, I am this person from here. I have done the following things. I think I can help you. For me, the other big thing is we never end with a question because that's always like, let me know. You always end with a question. You don't end with a, let's get on a call. Let me know what you think, etc. Because that's again a given. Good copywriting is that you don't say the obvious. You don't say, well, obviously you're going to let me know. It's an email. You're expecting a response. You don't need to say that part. So you take that part out of it. If the girl's interested, you're not saying to her, let's walk together to the car now, right? You'll just start walking. So it's the same thinking that you don't say the obvious. What I like to do, and this always works, is finish off with a question which continues the conversation. So what do you think of your short form content? That if you think that was the thing you're saying, you just ask them openly. What do you think of that? What do you think of this? Just for this call, I'm trying to sign a creator. And I was speaking to her on WhatsApp. And I do the same thing there. I always keep the conversation going because anytime you've discussed something, you have to angle it to something else so it just continues. And it's the best way of forming relationships. That was with anybody around, anybody. Like, I get introduced to so many people that it's like, how do I build that relationship over time? And that's the number one tactic. We have this thing that we say at Jamflow that basically the best form of sales is like you got to become someone's best friend without them realizing it. And that's because you kind of like are always there and they don't know why. So you keep messaging them. And I'm talking about like high net people, right? So I have the pleasure of my phone book is full of some of the biggest, most famous people in the world. And it's only through this method of continuing the conversation. And it was crazy. Like 3 months ago, I went to see the Kardashians in their house. And I went to advise them on something, and maybe I can sign them. We're still figuring that out. And how I got there was just in the exact same methodology of keeping the conversation going. So basically, I met this guy years ago. He's a really senior guy in like WME, CAA. He had worked in both agencies. I kept in touch with him. I've kept it going, kept the conversation flowing with him in the background. He happens to leave, become like the COO for the Kardashians. He then finds out that they're having this problem, and then he knows who I am. And because I've kept the conversation and built a relationship, he gets in touch with me. And this is a general sales tactic. I know we're talking about like physically finding someone on LinkedIn and sending them a pitch, but it's the thinking that you need to have that needs to be ingrained in you, that you're building relationships, even with someone like this that you're just going to email, because you just never know. And that's been the secret to like our success is the referrals that some of you may be getting. That just gets bigger and bigger and bigger if you work in this way, because if you're so nice to people in general, then they will always speak of you in the right way, and you just don't know who's on the other side. That's where like the style of selling has to be like this. Any questions there before I move on to a few other points in terms of, I guess, yeah, structuring and the way you meant to do this? Obviously, you got to fill this out in your own way. And I guess you guys are not junior enough to like to go through what to physically write, but in terms of how you should be structuring sending messages.
How do you actually uh keep the conversation going with people that might not necessarily be potential clients, but have a network of clients like WME? I actually have a lot of connections there as well recently, like many different people, and they have brought me multiple referrals. And so for me, how do I do it without seeming needy, but keeping that conversation going with all of those people to stay top of mind?
I think it depends on are you close to them? Obviously, WME being one of the biggest agencies in the world, and yeah, the agents there you should be friends with. You have to have full strategy behind that. What I mean is pinpoint a couple of people you want to be close with, and then you actually just work on it. Meaning you got to make the effort trying to meet them, go have dinner with them. You got to always pretend that you are willing to pay a lot of money, because agents in general only want to meet people that have money. So the tactic I would use is that, yeah, like, if we're going to do the podcast clips for somebody, I'm looking to sign the biggest clients. I have a budget though, don't worry. So maybe we can like pay to do your one client. I would say things to them. It's like fake selling to people that are in the middle, the middlemen. That opens a lot of gates. I mentioned it last week, but when I pitched The Rock, that's exactly how I did it. They were like, obviously Endeavor, who own WME, they, they were like, we only speak for, do you call him DJ, if we have to have $1 million up front. Otherwise, we can't go any further. I was like, no problem. $1 million, I'll pay it. But what's the next step? Like, oh yeah, okay, let's organize a call then. Next week, there's a call with 9 people on it. So like money talks. So I would have a thing of money. It's impression. So honestly, right now, we take like rooms out for like private dining in some of the nicest restaurants in the world. We entertain clients there. So in the creator space in particular, or maybe in the high-end SaaS, any high-end top 50 companies in any spectrum, money talks. So you got to act and be, and the way you operate is like you're wealthy. And it's a massive part of business if you want to be at the upper end. It like massively is. We spend so much money on gifting, like gifting floor seats, gifting this, gifting that, buying first class tickets. It's weird as it sounds, it all works. But I don't want to talk about that too much because it's not that relevant to everybody. But at the highest level, or if you're trying to sign the biggest B2B SaaS company in Germany team, then that would be some of the things you start to deploy. So it's a longer game from on that level of relationship building, if that makes sense.
Yeah, very interesting. Here in Germany, we have a little bit of a culture where if you show too much of what you got and how successful you are, some professional people might not like it. So especially when you go for the German Mittelstand, for example, which is the biggest market potential here, a lot of mid-sized companies that make a lot of money. For example, if you go there with your Rolex or even with your Porsche or whatever, that would already be a bad impression. So I think it always depends on the culture that you're in. But I feel
You
like,
gotta find
especially
like what they care about though. So yeah, you're right. It doesn't mean you be flashy. It's just you gotta do it in a way that's not obvious, and
Yeah.
you are making them have the experience that they like. It's a tough one, and also if someone's more wealthier than you, then you look silly doing it. Like when I signed Anthony Joshua, the boxer, obviously there's nothing I can do that can impress him financially. So I worked on what could impress him. And we like made him a custom glove, for instance, or we did something else. The context is that you are trying to show someone on the other side that you're a bit different and there's something different about you. You've got to do it with the right person on the other side. And every business will have somebody there where they have that person internally who's worth investing the time in. And sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does. But yeah, that's a long-term agency relationship game. Not necessarily about outreach, but yeah.
Yeah, I very much agree on dinners. And also what I've found is, especially if you're waiting from someone to get back to you, it's always better to just provide more value so that you will be top of mind again instead of asking, "Hey, do you have any feedback for me?" So like sometimes I'm just following up with something like, "Hey, I've just found this very interesting article. I think it will help you with topic X, Y, Z." And don't even talk about, "Hey, maybe you can also give me feedback." The person will already know that you're still waiting for feedback, and you're not sounding pushy at all. You're just providing more value. I think that works really well for us.
100%. So I had it here at the bottom, the follow-up. And that's where most people go wrong, because you may put some effort into a outreach, they don't get a response and be disheartened. So I build the follow-up in the same way. I'll just quickly jump to here. So what we do is, and this method works, you can use it in yours. We do I think I mentioned this last time, but like we do day 1, day 2. So like you send the email, day 2 I'll follow up, and then day 5, and then day 10, and then it's dead basically in our lead software. Day 5 and day 10 are new emails. So this 10 is the follow up to 5, and 2 is the follow up to the day 1. And every single time it's this, that we still use the same structure. It's just you change the angle and narrative. So you don't say, "I'm just following up. Hey, bumping this top of your inbox. Hey, let me know what you think. Or do you have anything for me? Feedback for me?" Is it still going to be, or I saw one earlier guy's like, "I really love this partnership, but my spaces are filling up." It's just so corny. There's like, it doesn't work like that. You have to assume. You can't try to give someone or make someone think, you're lucky to be messaging you or anything like that. So I just put the different options here, which would work, and you can flip this anyway, right? So one is that if you maybe try to say the opportunity, so maybe I ran for this creativity app, you're going to be like, "It's this massive opportunity." That's your angle. But then next time, it could be your current people that currently buy your ebooks or whatever she sells. That's actually a problem for your customers. They're getting a terrible experience. So you're changing the angle, because some angles work, some don't. Some people care about money, some don't. Now, when we teach our team and when I do it, I always assume the previous message didn't work. Going back to talking to a girl in a bar, if you went to try to speak to a girl and she rejected you, let's say you see her on the dance floor later, you're not going to reference that first meeting, are you? You're not going to be like, "Oh, hey, it's me, the guy that you just rejected 10 minutes ago." You're just going to come in with a new angle and try to impress. So I always assume that you basically got to forget about your previous and it's time to go again. And you change the angle, change the angle. And is there a personal connection? Is there a competitor that you could say, "Hey, I noticed that another creator has actually recently launched something very similar to what I'm telling you to do. And I can see that it worked for her. I really think this can work. And this is why." I did a quick analysis and boom, boom, boom. So the problem is that it's so methodical at every level that it's almost impossible for it to not work. But naturally, there's going to be people that don't respond. There's naturally going to be, I've tried everything with certain people and got nowhere. Some people are just not that great at trusting someone over email and getting on a call. Like, it's always going to be all that. But if you're in sales and you're trying to sign clients, all that doesn't matter. And it's a long-term game that if you keep doing this the right way, a day is going to come where she wants to do that. And then she'll remember that, "Oh yeah, some company did reach out to me 6 months ago that does this exact thing. Let me find them." Maybe they finally start a podcast and they're like, "Oh yeah, there's a company actually that does like clips. Maybe let me find that." You'll be surprised. I've signed creators or general clients, brands, almost like 18 months, 2 years after an outreach email, and they respond on the same one. And it'll be like, "Oh, sorry, I missed this. We'd love to find out more." And it's like 2 years later. And you'll be amazed how many times like that's actually happened to us. So that would be my structure of follow-ups. In the same way. So I would do day 1, 2, 5, 10. You can adjust that according to your thing, write them out. I would physically write the templates out for the team that you should hire overseas for cheap. and train. And I can just pull up my more examples for you guys. This is slightly old, but essentially, it's then we do it in sorry, it's the wrong one. So essentially, I would do it in this structure. So then, the person that you've hired and trained, and they just have to fill in the blanks to still have it in a structure in the right way and come across well. And if you train them well enough, you have people sitting doing 20, 30 a day. And essentially, it's like you're doing it, basically, in simple words. Sorry, yeah, Tim?
Quick question. So here you're starting with a personal connection and not with a problem. Have you kind of tested both outreaches and what's working better, to start immediately with the problem statement or first start with a personal connection?
Whatever you think, the way, obviously, as you go through your qualification of how you can position yourself to X person is how it is when you figure that out. So obviously, as you're doing the analysis, or the person is doing the analysis on the potential, let's call it B2B SaaS business, that's how you figure it out. So you got to have a way. I discussed it last time. That essentially, like, there's yes and no answers to somebody, to be like, do they have a TikTok pixel on the website? Yes, no. No? Okay, that means they don't do TikTok ads. That could be a whole angle. But just before that, let's just check. Do they have a Facebook pixel? Oh, yes, they do. Do they have a Google Tag Manager? Yes, they do. Do they have any email funnels on the website? They have a basic newsletter. Okay. Do they have any automations? No. So your person should be sitting there analyzing someone in the way you would look at it, so you can know what to pitch them. And from that, you will know, clear problem, no TikTok pixel, no TikTok channel, clear opportunity. And that's for you to decide, right, in your agency, to be like, if there's no TikTok, we go all in on TikTok on this pitch, right? Or like, what's the thing that you want to nail? And there's no right answer to that. So there's no right answer to that question. It's more of the opportunity that presents itself. So if there's a glaring problem, I would jump on the problem, because problem is the best thing to flip into a solution. Obviously, if there's a personal connection, that's very lucky, and you can do that. But the point is, you build a document, and this is not something. This is a starting document. Then, truth is, each week my team would be fine tuning, tweaking based on the results. It's not a one-time thing. It's a thing that you're doing in the business constantly, because we don't know if it's going to work or not. We have lots of ideas. Sometimes some of them have not worked at all, and we're like, oh, we can't try this. So here there's an app outreach for someone that's already selling PDF or membership clubs or whatever, right? So it's very particular to that person's scenario. So the more you can, the more you can tailor the whole sale process. And for me, this has always been very organic, meaning that's how I always attempted it. And I guess now I realized that's why it worked. And I end up getting massive people and brands to trust us because of that approach. Like, I'll give you an example. We pitched Gymshark that they need to start a modest clothing line because the Muslim market is this big. And we had to create an Emiliana Deeb who has 12 million on TikTok and like 5 million on Instagram. So we pitched them saying Nike and all the other guys are not doing this thing. We know about it. I'm Muslim. I'm one of the biggest Muslim creators signed to Gemflow. I think we can do this. This is how I would do it. This is the way it works. This is how big the market is. And they actually signed off on it. We did the first ever, like, modest, mean basically some of that's covered. We did the first ever modest billboard in the activewear scene. We launched 2 collections that have sold out. And now we're working on a full activewear range with them. And the thing is how you look at opportunity. Who can look at Gymshark and find a missing hole when they're a company worth billions? You'd be like, they know everything. But there's always opportunity if the right person is looking in the right way. And that's what you got to look at when you look at sales. Like, what is the hidden opportunities in the potential people versus you can, and look, it's worth mentioning. I see of course, you can have a landing page, you can run some ads to it, you can try to convert people into your offer. Like that is all good. But I will say that's all like small time business. If you really want to get, you know, we have clients paying us more than $1 million in fees a year now. And that type of money will only come with like such way of working, as in like hyper personalized and customized. And if you're here, you want to build a bigger agency versus keep signing clients after 4 months, run out of cash and they can't pay you, then move on to the rest. And you're going to get bottom end clients from online funnels because no major CEO in any major business is buying an offer from a landing page behind some video at 2 a.m. That is not happening, right? You can sell other stuff like that, but you won't be able to sell large retainers in those ways. It doesn't mean they're not wrong. You can have both, but it just, you gotta make sure that the right marketing is pointing at the right people. That's all. And now you can do both. Cool. Happy to get into
What's your
questions.
preferred?
That was my main point I wanted to cover today.
What's your preferred way to do outreach? Is it usually email? And also, do you have a list of checking if there's like your assistants? Do they check if there's someone else that knows them so that you could get a warm intro, because that's always better than just doing outreach.
Yeah, there's one thing I actually didn't mention, which is a good point. I had it in my notes was, so it's not just email. I have tested and seen that it works. We go after people on all touch points. So my team would be logged into like the social media accounts of the business. So we normally hit them from every angle. So if that's sending them an Instagram DM, sending them a LinkedIn message, and then sending them the email on purpose. So it's obvious we're trying to get in touch. And I'll tell you the reverse engineer of this. So recently, we sent some of these to Stephen Bartlett's team, the new tonic brand that we built. And 2 days later, they are on us like crazy. I get an email from 3 of the team members. They DM our Gemflow Instagram account. They send LinkedIn messages to 3 other team members at Gemflow. It was obvious, like crazy, that they're trying to get in touch with us. And it never happened to me. It was the first time it's happened to me in reverse. And you actually feel a bit like, I need to talk to these guys because there's clearly something here. And obviously he's big. Obviously he's very well known, etc. But that's it. That's the art of selling, because you're like, you need to speak to these people. So I would definitely do that approach. I would definitely do that approach in terms of across all the points. And what was your second point? Sorry, one was on touch points. I think you meant something else.
Seeing if there's anybody in your network that can do a personal introduction.
Yeah, so we do that as well. So naturally, we will look through the like mutual connections on Instagram and on LinkedIn and see if there's anybody there. One thing we do, and I would advise to do that, is actually have a referral scheme, unofficial, where you're paying people to make introductions, but don't ever launch it as an official referral scheme. Have it on your website or anything like that, because that's just like cheesy as hell. You just got to do it on the down low. And you can't tell the other person that referred you that they're actually getting any money. So we do that a lot. Yes. So either I'll find the connection. Then I would go to the guy saying, hey, you know this person. I think let me sign them and I'm going to give you 10,000. And they always say yes. And I would come with the money straight up, not trying to elongate it, whatever. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I signed Jordan Woods in the US. She's a massive US influencer. And that was exactly it. So I followed some guy on Instagram. He was at her house. I literally messaged him. I was like, I'll give you $10,000 if you introduce me to her. And he did it, and I paid him 10,000. And then I flew to Arizona and I signed her. He signed her for her global rights of management outside of the US, because her mom managed in the US. And then we went ahead and launched like 2 brands with her. And the 2 weeks later, I did a deal with Huel, and Huel paid us $150,000 for her to post. And the whole thing was like that. And that's business basically. The more chances you take like that, yeah, it pays off. That's the reality of it. You can have all the best systems and outreach and setup, but the other bit is like the hustle. This is the reality of the situation. It's still always going to be there. So through people is one of the best ways. You just got to be the guy that's willing to pay for it. fast and not like hesitate. I remember once I flew she was only 15 then, she was massive growing on YouTube, this creator. I had to speak to her dad. I paid for a flight. She came to London so we can sign her and like basically like do all the work, film her, do all the content, and launch her course. So it's just taking that chance. Yeah. Sorry, Shiv. What's the question? Go for it.
I don't mean to cut you off. I just raised my hand down because that was really interesting. I just wanted to keep the focus on that.
No worries, no worries. If anything's far away.
Well, yeah, I could. Yeah, I do have a question. You know, everything that you said in the last 45 minutes, it was so contextual, so pure in the way that it was just being presented. For me, when I look at the Google Doc, it's like warm outreach messages. There's like a bunch of things you guys are testing. I also saw that you have plug and play templates where you're like, okay, choose from one of these problems. So you're basically populating these problem statements, offer angles, and all of that good stuff so that VAs then in the Philippines or elsewhere could contextually put into place what you've created. But it's just like I'm having a little bit of a hard time seeing how it is put into work. But I guess that's where it comes down to actually putting in the work, coming out with all these different things. But yeah, if I could just maybe have like a checklist of what would I need to do, like the 5 things, 6 things, like do I need to populate like the service offer? I need to come up with sub offers, the way that I position those offers. I need to have different messaging angles. I need to come up with different problem statements for different personas. You know, all of that stuff. I just like I can see it kind of, but it's like floating by a little bit.
Let's make a note. Sorry. Do you have anything to add, Derek, before I answer?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. What was that, Sean?
Do you have anything to add? I was just about to answer.
Yeah. Mine is a little bit of a question similar to what Ja just kind of broke down there. I think I kind of agree with that as well. I think that the templates are great. If you need a moment to take the note, let me know because it's a slightly different question. Or do you want me to go ahead and ask?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me just come back to you on the
Yes.
question, Ja. Is I'm gonna go away and try to build something for you guys for that, but in reality, that's the final part that will be so applicable to your own business, essentially. But what approach I would take is being as directive as I possibly can. Meaning, so if it was a problem statement and the problem was about the following things, it should lead the person to a certain outreach template for them to customize. So you're not giving them a massive Google Doc and saying find one. You're saying go to A13, right? So A13 is they are a SaaS company, don't have TikTok Pixel, clearly don't care about social, so it's actually going to be a hard pitch. But this is the angle we have decided on. Because obviously you need to do the work with your team to be like, all right, guys, here's all the potential issues, opportunities that our clients have. How shall we agree we're going to tackle each one of these in our sales tactics, right? For us, we are succeeding at the moment by taking over existing creative businesses. It's amazing. So like someone is doing millions and they're like, we have no idea what we're doing. It's working, but then it doesn't work and they're having a crisis. So we come in to be like, we're the professional guys. Let us handle it now. And we come in and solve it. So we find a new angle. So I have my team sitting on looking at a creator with a business that's clearly doing well, find the holes in their business, and let's go and pitch those guys. And then there's multiple angles in that. So yeah, so that's how you can identify your, which thing you're coming from. So the work you have to do is in the last layer with your team, yourself, is like really sitting down and thinking, oh, so if someone doesn't have a TikTok pixel, what are the 5 ways I can pitch them? Right? What would I say? And then you turn that into the documents, you turn that into the first presentation, you turn that into whatever the thing has to be, is what I would do. But I will try to create some sort of thing that can like lead you down a path. But that's the way that works, is what I would say.
Awesome, thank you.
Derek?
Yeah, so I think for me, I'm not sure if this would necessarily be super helpful. I don't know how big the other agencies in this group are, but for me, kind of where I'm at right now, um, the way that you're breaking this down, I struggle to fully grasp it because I'm not able to understand if it really is cost effective and time effective for me to implement something of this scale in my agency at the moment. The biggest reason being I totally agree that because this is coming from a guy I record custom looms for outreach. Do you know what I mean? But I've just got it down to like a process. So I do fairly warm outreach as it is, even for my size. But a client isn't worth $2 million to me. I don't have a percentage of revenue. I don't have skin in the game for them. It's more so, hey, pay me X amount per month. They'll usually stay for about a year on average, a year and a half. We actually have really good retention, which is great. So at what point is it more of a numbers game than it is, hey, let me have 4 VAs, all these systems, spending $3,000 a month on the service? Because the way that I'm hearing it from you, it's like, hey, one client to you could be worth 8 figures. So like, yeah, I'll fly them out. I'll go speak to them. For me, I don't have that budget. So at what point is it like, hey, I'm just going to set up instantly AI. I'm going to scrape 2,000 leads. I'm going to segment the leads list, and I'm going to send 50 emails a day using instantly to hook them to a lead magnet, so on and so forth. What are your thoughts on that?
If you want to grow, the thing that you're suggesting, it's for me, it's a people will come, people will go, and it's fine, it works. You can do the same thing. So it's different strategies, right? You can have that strategy running. I think the thing that I'm talking about will allow you to get better clients naturally. So whatever you're getting today, whatever you're charging today, if you ever want to level that up, it's your goal, right? If you're getting $2,000 per month, you have a team of 6 people, you want to get 100,000 a month, you pay your 15 people and you take the rest of the cash, and you're happy with that, you want to buy some crypto, do whatever, that's great. But if you want to go a bit beyond that, and where your agency, I guess, as my goal was to build a world-class agency that I can sell one day, then things have to become a lot bigger and better than that. Otherwise, you'll never get there. I was in the same position like 2018, 19, and I was like, I can keep doing this. It's working. But the goal was to try to grow bigger. Why? Because, yeah, the equity value of my business has grown, which makes my value grow. And I realized, I guess, cash is only so much I can generate. And I want to build something which has more value. So it's the ultimate question of what you're trying to build. So, yeah, the thing I mentioned about flying people or whatever, that will only be relevant when, because of your qualification, a massive creator responds to you. And you're like, holy shit, right? Like, then you don't need to pitch them $2,000 per month. That'll be, it's a waste. If the opportunity comes knocking on your door, you've got to be ready to pitch them the bigger thing, whatever that is. So you have to have the next step up offer, like in your mind. For me, that was I want to own equity and I want to invest in creator brands. So the truth is, I know Logan and KSI. I knew them both, worked with them both. We did Logan's fabric clothing, and then obviously they did the Prime deal, and I'm like, I'm so busy with my offer. I'm so busy churning over, and these other called Congo brands have come, pitched them, launched Prime, and made billions of dollars. And I know both of those guys. I go to dinner with them. I'm just like, what the? I'm so stuck in my ways thinking I know what I'm doing. And some came with a different offer. And what was their offer? They gave them $1 million each upfront and said, let's do a joint venture together. I have the cash to do that shit. I never even thought about it. So that's the lesson. The lesson is if you're going to get comfortable and do that, you're happy, do it all day long. Just don't have big goals, is what I would say, because that takes a different approach of thinking, how do I get to the next level? So then I was like, I want to go after JVs. I want to invest. We need to do stuff. So for this, I bought 2 creators together. We've launched the brand new tonic. I've got equity in it. I've invested in it. So I then worked on a pitch of when the opportunity comes, I'm going to be ready for it. And how this came was one of my lead generation people, they messaged James, who's one of the creators in it. And they said to him, we've noticed you don't sell any products of your own. And they suggested to him a nootropic product because that's how we went down the list of things. Because he's got videos of saying, I will never sell supplements. I don't believe in protein powder. It's just powdered milk, blah, 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 blah. Somehow we landed on nootropics. So the email that went out said, would you be interested in nootropics? They came back saying yes. We sit in a meeting, 3 hours go by. He knew so much about the ingredients. I got two of my scientists in the room. Before we know it, we've like formulated a drink in 3 hours. And then we're like, we need to bring another creator in. And like 2 days later, we've also brought Chris in, who's now absolutely blown up. He was on Joe Rogan last week. And you know what I mean? So that's a precise thing of like, and I had never structured a JV deal in such a way, but then the opportunity came. So hope that gives like just context of like thing for, so where you are today, I would 100% invest in setting a way up. But it's not the only way. That doesn't mean don't have a ads funnel, don't have all the different funnels. But I would set this one up because I honestly believe this is the one how you will sign the next layer of clients going up. Especially if you're great at doing clips, and the better you get at it, there's going to be bigger people that you can sign for more money. I still have creators paying me $2,000 a month to do Facebook ads, or businesses paying us very low money. So don't get me wrong when I'm saying big numbers or big things. We are still fighting and signing smaller clients and smaller things too, because money is money. If the service makes sense, if the service is profitable, then it's worth pushing for. We do creative, where we will literally do like a creative shoot and hire models and blah, blah, blah. So like, we do structured partnerships as percentages, but I'm trying to give you the context of that's 8 years later. I spent a long time just getting retainers. Sending, you learn so much, like you don't send invoices out. Now we always do retain with like automatic payments because you don't want to be chasing payments. Like all the little lessons you learn over time. But yeah, I shouldn't stop what you're doing, but it's very easy to set something up that allow you to go after the top end of the market. That will pay you the most because they have the most
Got it.
money.
I appreciate that. That's what I thought you would
Big
say.
answer. But
That's what I thought you would say. Yeah. Basically, it sounds like you're saying, hey, remember there's levels to it. You might be here. Don't compare to here. And, even with the offer that I'm at right now, to get to here, I've got to upscale my offer, get better as a leader. And then the opportunity will present itself, like you're saying it did for you, to say, okay, wait, there's this golden opportunity. I can either take it or not take it, stay at the retainer level. You took it. Now you're here. I'm way down here. And I think I'm just comparing myself, like, how did you go from retainers, 2,000 a month? And I'm like, how am I going to do that with clips, to like, signing Chris Williamson and James and building a brand like that. So yeah, I appreciate that. That makes sense.
yeah, you just gotta remember that your current offer is just what it is today, and just don't be so attached to it. It really doesn't matter. And you're going to have to keep adapting it anyway. So if you set up new ways of signing clients, you're going to allow your business to grow in different ways that you may not even realize yourself. Ultimately, when we launched our talent management side, it was the same thing. Creators are asking us to manage them. We're like, not sure. Brands are saying, hey, do you guys work with our creators? Get lots of results. Do you guys know any creators for us? Naturally you'd be like, no, don't want to do it. We tested it, played with it to a point that now we have like X percentage of Dior's budget is coming to us. So just throw yourself at it. And if it fails, have a way of knowing the failure. So one thing I'm very good at. So let's say if you were to follow this, say 10,000 is the max I'm going to spend. If 3 months go by and I sign 0 clients, then you cancel it. Because as a business owner, you need to take calculated risks. We call it innovation. You take calculated risks. So what risks am I taking this year to go past growth? In 2018 to 19, we went from, I think I sold 4 million with creators. In 2019, I sold 12 million with creators. There was like 8 of us. And we basically outdid way more than I could have ever imagined. And when I look back at why, those are the exact reasons why. It was because I took the chance where someone else would not have, because they thought, that's not my place, that's not my current offer, this is already working, I should stick to this. And for me, that was, we went to the US and I sat in the US for 2 months and signed clients by just sitting in LA and meeting people. going to every single big agency and presenting to them what can I do, what I know. So the people that push themselves outside of their norm, and as a CEO, that's your job. If you want to scale.
Can you elaborate more on those 2 months? I mean, we're kind of out of time, but that's very interesting because as Bitcoin is approaching end of June, I plan on going 2 months in America specifically for that reason. And I'm interested in like how many calls did you schedule up front? How far up front was it? Were you just saying I'm in LA, let's grab a cup of coffee to everyone you knew, or was it more structured?
It was a few things, to be honest. I would definitely say if you just end up going somewhere with an event or something, it'd be really tough. People would meet in such a way, especially there for something else. It was a strategy, again, like well thought out. So we had seeded with all the major agencies before, so they were in a warm place to then go in and see them. I wanted to set up an office, so we actually have a base, so it's obvious we're in the country. Worst thing was that you could take someone that you're pretending to be there when you're not actually there. So we set up an office, set up in a warehouse first. So I did the operations first, then turned towards sales. And then I actually utilized my current clients who they knew to get into places. And then lastly, we even flew some of our current clients to come over there. And I got a big house. I entertained them and then got them to bring other people with them. So again, it's sort of relationship based in that way. So I don't know, Derek, so let's say if you're having podcasts today, if you're doing it for someone in a certain place, you can try to get those people together and say, hey, like bring more people. And it's a very like a relaxed way of increasing your network that you can then potentially pitch afterwards. But conferences are good. I've been to many, pitched many at many. It's tough. The thing there would be to quickly say, who's your manager? I have an amazing thing I'm working on. I think you're going to love it. Who's the best person to speak to? He'll be like, oh, speak to this person. Great. Can you give me his email? Get the email done. Then email that person and trying to say, hey, are you here? If so, like, let's meet. So I would take that approach. Never start pitching the actual thing to like the person because they'll think you're a right weirdo. And their mind is somewhere else. Just from like the way I would approach it. In that sense. Cool, guys. I'm gonna run. Got another call in 5 minutes. But yeah, hope that was helpful. I would love for you to start implementing. And you said if last week was great, some of you guys did. But yeah, I'll share this doc now in the chat that I typed up. Feel free to send me anything in Slack that you want me to look at.
Thank you for your time.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks, Shan.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes.